video. Am I doing this right? Okay, here we go. Number 1, the low temperatures in January of 5 Alaskan cities are shown in the table below. What's the difference between the warmest and coldest temperature? The warmest temperature, obviously, is the positive integer, is the highest value, which makes it this one. And the lowest temperature is the negative integer, furthest to the left, which would be this one. So what's the difference between the warmest? So if you had a number line, and let's use that, and you had negative 24 on this side, and somewhere over here is 0, somewhere over here is 18, and if you were to take a long stroll all the way there, what is the difference between those two temperatures? Well, from 0 to 24, obviously there's 24, and from 0 to 18, there's 18. So if you add those two, the difference is 42 degrees, right? What temperature would 15 more than the temperature above shown? What temperature would be 15 degrees more than the temperature shown on the thermometer above? So on the thermometer, it looks like that's negative 5. So 15 more than that, obviously, means that way. So if you were at negative 5 and 15 more, well, from negative 5 to 0 would be 5 degrees, right? And then you have another 10 degrees to go. You would land on 10 Fahrenheit. 4, hot air balloons flying at 212 feet. So let's make this the ground level. Here's your balloon. Here's your balloon. It's 212 feet above the air. It goes down 72, and then it goes up 37 feet. Which expression represents the height of the hot balloon after these changes? Well, if you're at 212, you definitely have to go down 70 seconds. So this one is a no because it's plus, 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 right? So this is gone. Negative 12 minus, so there's a negative and a negative, so another way to rewrite this would be plus 72. So that right away tells me it's a no because it has to be something with a minus, and this has positive, so that's gone. This one's also gone because 212 plus 72 means that this one went up 72, so that's gone. Finally, we have something where it says you're at 212, you positive and negative is a negative, right? So you have to go down 72, so that shows 72. And then the plus 37 says that you go back up. So B is the only one that makes sense. 2, the temperature on Monday on the mountain peak was 7 degrees Fahrenheit at 6 p.m. By 8 p.m., the temperature had dropped to 0 degrees. So, okay, so by 8 p.m., that's 6 p.m. Then at 8 p.m., the temperature is now 0 degrees. So it went, so you were at 7 degrees, right? 7 degrees is 0. And then it dropped to 0 degrees. Now, you notice that this was in 2 hours, right? So if the temperature continued to drop at the same rate, which is the best estimate for the temperature at 11 o'clock? So let me see if I can draw this a different way. So here you go. So this is the temperature right now, 7 degrees at 6 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., it says that the temperature now is 0 degrees. Right, so in a span of 2 hours, it dropped 7 degrees, right? It dropped. So which means that every hour, right? So don't remember 7 p.m. over here. That's assuming it's dropping a constant rate. So every hour is dropping by 3.5 degrees, right? So from 6 to 7, it dropped 3.5, and then from 7 to 8, it dropped 3.5, right? 3.5 degrees is your constant drop. So now you're asking, what would it be at 11 p.m.? So 8, let me make 8, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. So if we know that it's dropping at a rate of 3.5 degrees every hour, so at 8 p.m. it's at, 0 degrees. At 9 p.m. it's going to drop another 3.5 degrees, so it would be negative 0.35 degrees. At 10 p.m. it's going to drop another 3.5, so now we're at negative 7. And then at 11 p.m. it drops another 3.5, which makes us a negative 10.5. So at around 11 o'clock, your temperature should be around here. Meig's bank balance was 42.67. Her deposit was and withdrawal since then can be represented as plus. So every time it's a plus, it's a deposit, and every time it's a minus, it means that she's taking out money. What is her balance bank? What is her balance bank? What is her bank balance now? So in your calculator, I would put this, then I would add 50. I would subtract 15. I would subtract 21. I would add 16.25, and then I would add another 25. So 42.67 plus 50 because she put in money. She's going to take out. She's going to take out 15, and then she's going to take another $21. Then she's going to add 16.25, and then she's going to add 25. So her balance should be, if you do that correctly, 97.92. Am I recording this? Please tell me. Yes. Number 6, which of the following numbers is closest to the value of the expression below? So again, just because you have a calculator doesn't mean much if you don't know what order to do it. So be careful over here. So the first thing you do, I'm not going to circle it. You got to multiply those two. 4.8 times 1021, and that's going to give me 4,000. So the 5.1 is still outside. 4,900.8 divided by 495. So now let's divide those two. And you're going to get, and again, rounded. So you get 5.1 that's still outside. Divide those two, you get 9.9 rounded. And if I multiply those two times what? Times 5.1, I'm going to get about 50.49. So it's about. There you go. What is the value of the expression below? So this one, so we got -3. So 6 minus 10 is -4, right? And then plus 4. So we need to actually do this part first, right? Subtract those two numbers. Now I'm going to take the absolute value of -4. So I have this -3 who's outside, and the absolute value of -4 is just 4, and then plus 4. So you need to take care of the absolute value first, and then do the other operations. Now I can multiply. This is -12 plus 4, and -12 plus 4 is -8. Seven, or let's do 11. Again, let's take care of the exponents. 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Minus 3 to the second power is 9. So 8 minus 9 is -1, and the absolute value of -1 is 1. Please use your calculators over here if you like. Order of operations. Now we're going to add 1/2 plus 3/8. If you have a calculator, please use it. So 4/8. So inside 1/2 plus 3/8 is 7/8. Minus, and I'm going to multiply this 5/8 times 2. And simplified, it becomes 5/4. Right? Now I can, multiply these two. And again, simplify this one with this one. And I get 7/2 minus 5/4. If we find a common denominator, and again, you could have done all this in your calculator. This would be 4/14 minus 5/4. That gives me 9/4, or 2 1/4. Okay, so in your calculator, I probably would have, not probably, but find the answer to these two. Find the answer to these two, change it, and then you have this plus whatever inside there minus this value over here, right? So make sure you take care of those two separately, and then you can enter that. 8. Divide, so again, dividing a fraction means multiplying by the reciprocal, so 2/7 times 5/3. Negative times a positive is a negative, 2 times 5 is 10, and 7 times 3 is 21, negative. Did I do this already? 12, what is the value of the expression below? So let's keep that negative sign outside. Let's take care of it inside. So 2 to the second power is 4. Times, and then let's do negative 3 to the second power. Negative 3 to the second power is negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. Negative times a negative is a positive, so we get 4 times 9. So now I'm still taking care of the inside here. The absolute value symbol, 4 times 9 is 36. The absolute value of 36 is 36, but there's a minus sign that's waiting for that number outside. So final answer, negative 36. Number 9. So again, you gotta take care of this. All right, don't enter that whole thing in the calculator all at once. So it's 7 plus 0.25, which is being multiplied by whatever's inside here. So negative 2/3 times negative 15. So let me just write that here. Times negative 15. So negative times a negative is going to be a positive. So that's a good thing, right? Minus a half. And then let's simplify. 15 and 3 becomes 5, and 2 times 5 becomes 10. So that whole thing becomes 10. Now I can do 7 plus, and 0.25 times 10 is 2.5. That's inside there, and then we have to subtract it by half. 7 plus 2.5 is 9.5, and 9.5 minus a half is just simply 9. 13, which one is true? Well, let's look at each of them separately. A, negative 5 divided by negative 8. So negative divided by negative becomes positive, right? So this whole thing just goes away. So now we have a positive. And then with a negative outside, it becomes negative. So are they equal? No. This one, negative divided by negative. So negative 3 divided by negative 4 is just 3 over 4 because it becomes positive. And is that equal negative 3 over 4? No. This one, well, there's nothing to do on this side, but this is a positive divided by a negative. So this whole thing is a negative. So a negative and a negative becomes positive. So yes, C is correct. D, 9 and negative 13 over negative 13 is a negative value, right? So I'm just going to put, so no matter how you divide this, it's going to be negative. On the other side, we got a negative on the outside and a negative inside the parentheses. So negative and negative becomes positive 9, 13. So they're definitely not the same. So 9, so it was C, 13 is C. 15, which one is true when a negative number is subtracted from a positive number? So if I have a positive number 5 and I am subtracting a negative number, so let's pick a, so if I have a positive and I subtract a negative number from that positive, so what happens to these two? Well, it becomes positive, right? So that eventually turns into something positive. So the answer, it's always going to be positive. Let's try another one. 5 minus, I don't know, subtracting a negative. So let's subtract a big negative. Again, these two become positive, and I get 5 plus. So eventually, no matter what you keep trying, the answer is always going to be positive. So the key here is you knowing, hey, what is true when a negative number is subtracted from a positive number. So here's my positive number. So let's subtract a negative number from 5. So let's subtract a negative, and pick any negative number you want. Let's subtract negative 28 from 5. This is what this says. So again, negative and negative becomes positive, right? So again, my answer becomes positive. 14, each of the following phrases describe a numerical value. The absolute value of 9 and the opposite of 9. Well, the absolute value of 9 is 9. The opposite of 9 is negative 9. So which statement is true about the relationship between the numerical values? The opposite of 9 is equal to the absolute value of 9. No, can you tell right here? The absolute value of 9 is 9, and the opposite of 9 is negative 9. They're not even the same. The absolute value of 9, which is 9, is less than the opposite of 9. No, 9 is not less than negative 9. Also garbage. The opposite of 9 is the same distance from 0 on the number line as the absolute value of 9. So where's negative 9? If this was 0, negative 9 would be here. Positive 9 would be here. Are they the same distance away from 0? Yes, this makes sense. The absolute value of 9 is further from 0 on the number line than the opposite of 9. No, they're not further away. They're exactly the same distance away from 0. The only one that's true is C. And I think this is day 16. Yes, it is.